So I'm going on a treasure hunt um, tomorrow. Now I live near Tampa, and I let's see, back in 2000, I don't know, five or maybe even six. I don't even know if it was six. It could have been five and six, somewhere around there. Um, I've always studied stuff like treasure hunting, folklore in the Tampa area, the East Coast, which is called the Treasure Coast of Florida, because so much history of treasure ships wrecking from Spain all across the coast over there. I studied it, read books, authors of interesting books that were recommended, and I was always interested and thought one day, if I could ever get to some way of, doing a treasure hunt, it would be so cool. And I'm thinking diving, some of the wrecks, not really land-based treasures. But then I realized there are stuff on land too, whether it's Civil War related or, an old bank heist, they stole some coins, from the 1890s or, whatever. I thought, oh, that'd be cool. So I recently, when I was in the Southwest, a few months ago, doing our little hunt, I bought this. It's not exactly like a ground penetrating radar, but it's known as a 3D scanner, and it does offer a very interesting look into the ground. And I tested this over this little cave, the crystal cave that we found. That thing. Another guy owned one, and I said before I buy something like this and spend that kind of money, I'd like to see one of these things work. Well, this guy happened to have one, and I was pretty impressed with it. I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty impressive. So I went ahead and ordered one, and I didn't quite get to use it where I was for a special site we have, but it came in. I was able to get it, and I played with it a little bit. And on one of these mountain roads, I said, "Oh, there's those big like corrugated pipes. They're like metal, 15 inches round, maybe something like that. And it goes, for as water comes down, so it doesn't flood across the road, it goes through the pipe. And the pipe's buried maybe a couple of feet down, if that. Um, so I'm like, oh, well, let me just practice over this one too. So I stopped my vehicle and got out and did a test. And I mean, you could see it. You could see right on the ground this big U-shaped, tunnel thing. I'm like, cool, good, just verifying that it really works. So back up to 2005 and six, I'm reading stuff. I find this author of this book who I found out was deceased by the time I tried to reach out to him. He died years before that, but he did a lot of research. Thought it was a lot of cool stuff. And then I met just by searching online, met somebody that was associated with him and reached out to the guy. I was able to find him, um, and so I haven't talked to him in years. Like we went out a couple places. I had this little jet boat. We were towing one of those little magnetometers behind the boat in this one little bay near I think Tarpon Springs, somewhere up there. Because there was a story of like a treasure chest or two that were dumped overboard, and a guy that was like a locksmith or his father was. So one of the guys that found one brought it into him to help him get it open, like a long time ago. But the rumor was that there was two, not just one. So he's like, well, man, if we could, find this thing, it would be great. And we didn't find it, but that was like one of my first times going out with the guy. And then we went to some other spots locally. There's an island over here, right offshore, and it has history of a pirate from the UK or London or whatever back in the day, the British Empire, I think in the 1800s, and he's allegedly made his hometown or whatever this area. And so there's this island, and this island has a large Indian mound, not a burial mound, but what they call a maiden mound. And somebody at some point had dug what looked like a 5 or 6 foot hole by like 5 or 6 foot in diameter. And there's these non-native trees that have an extremely flat bark, smooth bark, and they're pretty wide. Uh, and they're called, I believe, gumbo limbo trees. I forget if it's from India or somewhere, but they're not really native. So there are some of these trees on this island, and there's markings that have been scarred over by the tree growing out that lets you know, okay, someone didn't do this in the last 50 or 100 years. Like, this has been a while back. And I'm not sure exactly when this guy was in this area, but we think the 1800s possibly. But it could have 1700s history. It's hard to say. So I see this tree, and I'm like, wow, there's like symbols and things carved in this tree, and they're old. I brought a friend with mine one time, and he climbed the tree. He's like, oh, there's some up here that you can't see from the ground. I never got up there to look at them, but I thought that was interesting. And there's little holes dug around this island with old soup can type of stuff. So like there must have been someone that knew about this history a long time ago, because we were finding old rusty cans on this island that had no business having anybody on it. It's not like a beautiful island. It's got trees. It's kind of swampy. There's mosquitoes. If you go anywhere over there and it's not wintertime, the mosquitoes you can hear them coming like a freaking swarm. You'll be running off the island. My wife and I took her there one time. I pull up, get out of the boat. I start going in. I can hear them coming. I'm like, get back in the boat, get back in the boat. I'm pushing off. And these things are like chasing me, huge numbers of them. Okay, we're not going here in the summertime. That was a long time ago. So I have a little history with this guy. Not much, but an older guy, nice guy. He's got the bit by the treasure bug, so he's always looking for stuff. I think he was in Honduras not too long ago. There's history of sunken ships right out there too. And so he like messages me out of the blue. Haven't talked to him in a long time. And like just a few days ago, and he's like, hey, we think there's a treasure on this one, island, which I know the island. And he's like, we know who the owners are. It's owned by somebody, and we've talked to them. We've got a contract that if we do find something, 50-50 split. He's like, we need a little help digging and stuff. And it only from our guests and some of the equipment we have, we think it's like 5 feet down. If that. I'm like, okay. So I met him for dinner last night. Well, 2 nights ago, now that you're seeing this. And him and his buddy or partner, treasure partner, and then I met him too that night. We were talking about this, and I was like, well, I got this 3D scanner, and, I could, certainly bring it and see if we can see something in the ground that looks, odd, especially if it's only 5 foot down. It shouldn't be a problem. So tomorrow morning, when you see this video, I'll be waking up probably within 30 minutes after this video is being released at 6:30 to go meet him over at a marina, and we're going to take his boat because I don't have a boat anymore, and we're going to go over to this island, and we got permission, so we're going to go over there, and I'm going to do a scan to see if it's worth checking. So I thought, though, I told him at the dinner table, I've got a couple of woo-woo friends that have been pretty accurate with telling me things, to look at. There's something there, there's not something there. And my preliminary digging at some of these sites, or one of the sites in particular, shows they're probably right. Again, I got to go back and deal with some of this stuff at a later date. Not even sure when I'm going back. That's my buddy, his private property one I was telling you about in the Southwest. So there's no real hurry anyways. It's his own property. But I feel comfortable. One of those people is White Dove, and my other friend, the woo-woo friend, I tend to ask White Dove something and get a second opinion, and it's like she would literally tell me exactly what White Dove just told me. So I have pretty high confidence in them, is what I'm saying. So I sent both of them, hey, could you do that? I hadn't heard back from White Dove just yet, but I just sent it recently. My woo-woo friend, she got back and said, oh, because I sent them 3 pictures. The guy said, he goes, well, I'm there with some of my different equipment than you have, but I'm getting that there's something maybe 5, I don't think it's 6 feet, maybe 5.5 feet. And I do have pictures of the place. So I said, well, okay. So I will, I'm just going to share this screen with you. And this is picture 1. And he does something interesting with the magnets. This is a magnet right down here, which I'm not sure what he does. And this is something he stuck in the ground. I'm not sure what this is either. But then here's a secondary picture. That's the other. That's a closer picture. And then there's a third picture not related to this particular island. These 2 pictures are 2 separate things on the island. And then there's this one on someone's property in another part of Florida that's not even close to here. But he said, I feel very confident about the third picture. He goes, so I'd be interested to see what your friend says about that one, or really all of them. So I sent it to her, woo-woo friend, and White Dove, and Woo Woo friend says, "Oh, pictures 1 and 2, no, I get nothing. Nothing is there. Picture 3, she goes, I get kind of like a maybe, like it's definitely not a no, but it's like, yeah, there might be something there. Like, but I can't tell you with certain, like absolute certainty. I'm like, okay, that's interesting because he was very convinced. Like, we know, like for sure, there's something on this one. So it's interesting that, and I didn't tell her that. I just said, here's 3 pictures, somewhere in Florida. Like, can you tell me if there's anything there? Um, so she got no and no on the first 2. Well, those first 2 is where I'm heading tomorrow morning when you see this video. I'm heading out that way, and I mean, it's not gonna hurt. I got my little scanner. I'll just scan it over the property. You just hold it in your hand and walk, like a GPR, ground penetrating radar. It's similar, but it's a little tube that you hold and walk with, and it aims at the ground. Just to see, because if I'm running this thing over this spot and I see like, well, that's interesting. There's something here. Treasure or not, who knows? But there's actually something here. And in the Tampa Bay history, there actually is a little bit of pirate history in this area, by the way. And this particular island is not real close to land. It's like right in the middle, kind of be a good spot. If I was a pirate to be able to escape or whatever quickly, there'd be a good spot to probably put something. But who knows, And it's just, I told him I'd go with him. So I was a little disappointed because I trust Woo Woo friends, and I'm waiting for White Dove too. But if they both come back with no, not getting anything, I'm pretty convinced. So honestly, what I'm hoping is I scan this thing and it shows, yeah, there's nothing here. There's nothing in the way. It looks normal, because that would validate what I thought anyways with them. Now, if I do see something on my scanner, maybe it's not treasure. Maybe something's there, but it's not treasure. 5 foot, we got permission to dig. It's their island, it's private property. We're gonna try it. I told him, and then we'll just reschedule. He was thinking maybe this weekend, Sunday or something, that we would go and actually try to start digging on the site. And it shouldn't be too hard because you're talking about an island. It's not like, like in the Southwest where you're dealing with rock and dirt and all this crap that's like super hard to get through. So, hey, wish us luck. I may, matter of fact, I think I will videotape this. I can probably easily put this on for everybody to watch, for sure. Because number one, no one knows where we are, and we have permission to be there, 100% private thing. The guy doesn't mind, like, us being there. He's okay with it. So, I'll do another video when I'm done. I'll take the GoPro and do that kind of thing. Wish us luck, man. Come on. I need some treasure. I got to throw some of the treasure spoils on my patrons. You know what I'm saying? Crypto style. Take care.